What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So there's been a lot of discussion on how much XRP you need to become a millionaire. And I've discussed this plenty of times. I always like to look up different articles, different people that will state what prices they believe that's going to get to. And honestly, to get to some of these amounts that you would hold, it would make sense if you bought it a lot earlier. But if you're a newer investor into XRP, it's going to be, hopefully not as difficult to gather as much, but you still have a little bit of difficulty gathering as much as other people when they were at 40 cents and 30 cents and 50 cents and all of that stuff. So seeing XRP increase, I know for any of the newer investors, it's much more difficult to gather 100,000 XRP or 200,000 XRP, or in some people's cases, a million XRP, right? The goal of investing is to find a way to get the most by risking the least, right? So when you find an investment that has a 10x gain, a 20x gain, a 30x gain, a 100x gain, or whatever, now you can say, all right, I can risk a little bit because I know that this has a larger gain potential that's there. But when you see those larger gain potentials, people tend to want to risk a lot more because they just want to gain a lot more, which is understandable, right? You limit your risk. Let's say if you knew something was going to go to $1,000 and you bought 100 of it, right? You knew that was going to go to $1,000. You bought 100 of it just to be able to get $100,000, right? If now the next person decided to buy 200, it now makes it easier for them to get to $100,000 because now they only have to get to half of what you're looking to get to. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why people would buy a little bit more. That sun is coming through and you could see it on my hands and everywhere. And I hope I don't blind you with like the sun into the camera, but we'll try to limit our hand movements here. Guys, if you could, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. In this video, we're going to be talking about XRP and getting to, that millionaire status and how much you really need in order to get there. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Also, make sure you check out some of the links down below. It does help out the channel. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter or follow me on Patreon at Perry8K. Now, I do have a link for BTCC down below if you guys are interested. This is a fantastic platform that I've been using for quite some time, 8-9 months or so. You can get a 10% deposit bonus when you specifically use my link down below, as well as extra bonuses up to $10,055, 40% lower trading fees. You can trade outright, you can leverage trade, you can demo trade, you can do everything that you really want to in a platform, and it honestly is a really, really good platform. So check it out, give yourself, give it a look and see what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and move on from there. It's always great to have multiple platforms, and you can transfer money in very, very easily if you wanted to. So feel free to check it out, link down below. But XRP currently stands at $2.18. Haven't seen much major movement, but it's great to see it back up, above $2 and approaching the $2.20 level, $2.30 level again. We're looking at a $127 billion market cap with $2 billion worth of volume. The volume to market cap ratio is around, let's round up and say 2%. Still isn't great. Whether it's at 1.6% or 2%, it doesn't matter. It's not really the most amazing volume to market cap ratio, but we know the level of popularity that XRP has, that it holds, that it, for YouTube and for Twitter, for everywhere, that as you talk about it, it has a lot of popularity. So the overall position also has a lot of popularity. The circulating supply is 58.44 billion coins. Now, I've mentioned XRP and how much you technically need in order to get $1 million in order to become a millionaire, and it varies, right? There have been videos where I said this is how much you need to guarantee your status of becoming a millionaire, and I think there's also a level of acceptance to say that this is how much you need in the end to give yourself that maximum level of becoming a millionaire for the long term, right? So we're kind of going to go through both within this video, because if you don't know, and I don't want to flaunt it, people get upset with the fact that I tell people how much I have in XRP, but I have about 200,000 XRP, and that's because I was able to buy it at lower levels, most of it at lower levels, where I bought at around 50 cents per coin. And there's other people that have bought at lower, right? 50 or 40 cents per coin, or even in the 30s per coin. And some of those people that I know are making these moves, but they also, like, they gathered way more than what I gathered. Like, they took this risk upon their bank account to say, I want to gather 500,000. I want to gather 1 million XRP. And I applaud you guys for doing that, because it takes a lot of strength. I don't want to say the other word I was trying to say. It takes a lot out of you to throw that much money on one thing, because we're not talking about just like $50,000 at a level of 100,000 XRP. We're talking about $500,000, $400,000, $300,000 in order to put it in on this XRP to gather 1 million, right? So it's a lot. What does it need to get to for that person? Well, they already became a millionaire. And I've seen people that were like, all right, I'm taking my initial investment because it's not risky for me to take, half or a third of my investment. And congratulations to them that had 1 million and took 330,000 or took 400,000 of their XRP, leaving 600,000 in there, and they already were able to profit so much more money out of doing that. Congratulations to them. But there's more realistic levels that are out there, right? And those realistic levels are around the single digit thousands or tens of thousands. And I think that's where we need to kind of focus on. So in these other articles that we see here, these other articles, you're going to see that they talk about XRP and how much you need to become a millionaire. And this is a Binance article that breaks down multiple places, right? At a 10x, at a 30x, at a 40x surge there. But here's how much you need, right? If the scenario one, it reaches $5 per coin, you're going to need 200,000. So about where I have, it would need to reach $5 in order to become a millionaire in what I hold in XRP. Maybe a little bit less because I have over that amount, right? So 200,000 XRP to hit 1 million. Scenario two, $20, which would be 50,000 XRP to reach the millionaire status, which is a lot less and starts to get to more realistic levels. Scenario three would be $30, or you would need 333,000 XRP. And that's where a lot of the safe numbers are. As I talked about it in previous videos, that's where the safe number is. And even over here, you can see that 33,334 is that approximate level in order to become a potential millionaire. But can you also become a millionaire when you have 1,000 XRP? Well, that's iffy, right? That's also assuming that we're seeing all of these things that are going to happen with XRP and see multiple years, right, of adoption, of belief, of use, right? And as I searched it, right, so there's some experts that believe, you can get to a $10,000 price. That's where it would be in order for you to have 1,000 XRP and to become a millionaire. You would need to have a $10,000. Actually, it would be a $1,000 price. Let me do that math right? Because I want to make sure. I'm pretty sure that's the case. 1,000. So once it gets to a $1,000 price, that would be $1 million that you would be able to gain, right? And at a $10,000 price, it would be $10 million. So would it be able to get to a $1,000 price? I think, yeah, it definitely can. That would be a $57 trillion market cap, which sounds insane. But once you get to these levels and understand what XRP is going to be used for, can be used for, those levels are easily acceptable, right? But when you look at Bitcoin, you're like, it's never going to get past Bitcoin or anything like that. I believe it's going to be the number one cryptocurrency in the world. I've said this time and time again, that it's going to be the number one cryptocurrency in the world just by, factor of use versus store of value, right? That's kind of where that is. Are you going to use XRP a lot more? Are people going to desire having it because it's so fast and so usable? And not just people, banks and businesses and just wealthy individuals, high wealthy individuals, as well as funds and firms and all of that stuff. So will we see it hit $1,000? Honestly, I'm not pushing for it, because since I have 200,000, obviously I'm looking to accept less and less of a price, because I don't necessarily need it to get to $1,000, because my amount, and again, I don't want to sit here and flaunt anything in front of people, but if I got to a level of $1,000, that would be $200 million. I don't need $200 million. I could use it. I could use it and I could give away $100 million, $150 million, and live off of 50 or 25 or whatever. Obviously, I would need to pay taxes on everything that's there. It would be long-term taxes, depending on when that happens. But I don't need that much, right? What I need is something lower to be able to sustain the amount of money that can come in from my dividend portfolios, from my long-term portfolios, all of that stuff there, so that I don't I don't have to work if I don't want to, but I would love to still continue to produce videos, continue to invest, continue to day trade and all that stuff there. But I don't necessarily need it. So to answer the question, like, can you become a millionaire from 1,000 XRP? Is 1,000 XRP enough? And yeah, it is. It is enough. It is enough to become wealthy. It is enough to potentially become a millionaire. It is enough to change your life. I think that's what most people are looking for. Because if you have 1,000 XRP and it gets to a level of $100, which is kind of that level that I'm looking for, that's 100,000 XRP. If 100,000 or $100,000, if $100,000 can't change your life right now, then obviously you have a crazy amount of debt. And, it's just not looking good for you. So you would just need to make sure that you're investing the right way, as well as investing in a little bit more risky plays, or a little bit more, what word am I looking for? Where the market is, I can't think of the word right now. For some reason, it's literally drawing a blank. Speculative. In a speculative market or speculative investment, right? If you invest into those heavily, you may end up getting a lot in the end, but I want to make sure that you guys are protecting yourself long term, as well as taking a little bit of those risks short term. So there's a lot on the table. There's a lot of unknowns, and that's what makes XRP interesting. And this is why I decided to buy more and more. In the beginning, I only had 3,000. Then I ended up pushing up to 6,000. 10,000 I thought was a great level to have. And then I even talked about how 17,600 plus was like the kind of guaranteed amount at those stages. But then to kind of give you more of a guarantee for a lot of people accepting levels, obviously 33,000 was that level. So anyways, let me know what you think about this. Where do you think the guaranteed amount is to become a millionaire? Or if not, if you don't believe in XRP, then let me know that as well. Or where do you believe the highest amount that it's going to get to, right? Do you believe 1,000 XRP is going to be able to make you a millionaire or even multi-millionaire? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.